In my entire legal career, I have never read a motion so whiny and so bizarre as the one Donald Trump just filed in the Washington, D.C. federal criminal case. And I've read lots of motions, including motions from pro-per defendants and pro-per parties, from parties who are incarcerated, from parties who have mental illness, and who kind of rant and rave in some of these filings. This filing that Donald Trump just made, where he's asking the district court judge Tanya Chutkan to find special counsel Jack Smith in contempt of court because Jack Smith is voluntarily producing documents and voluntarily filing things on the docket while there is a stay in place, and Trump saying that this is actually a Biden administration effort to harass Donald Trump and to inject disinformation on the docket, and it's part of a continued pattern of harassment by President Biden, who's gone on Donald Trump's social media and Truth Social to harass Donald Trump on Truth Social. I mean, this stuff is in this filing that Donald Trump just made. If a law student presented this to me, I would fail them immediately and probably report them to the dean for filing something so utterly absurd. But this is what where we're at right now in the case. So here's what Donald Trump filed. Donald Trump's opposed motion for order to show cause why prosecutors should not be held in contempt. What Donald Trump is saying in this bizarre filing is that because special counsel Jack Smith has voluntarily produced records to Donald Trump while Judge Chutkan has issued a stay, and because special counsel Jack Smith has lodged on the public docket a motion in limine, which is a pretrial motion, which Donald Trump is not required to respond to while the stay is in effect, that this constitutes harassment of Donald Trump. Trump says he feels harassed and overwhelmed by what Jack Smith is doing. To be clear, while there is a stay or a pause in the district court proceeding, because Donald Trump filed what I believe to be a frivolous appeal on the issue of absolute presidential immunity to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, Donald Trump is not obligated to respond to these documents. He's not obligated to read the documents. If he wants to read them, great. He could ignore the documents. He doesn't have to look at them. But the fact that Jack Smith would dare file and voluntarily turn things over to Donald Trump has thrown Donald Trump into torment so much that he's writing a motion and says, do not produce evidence to me. Do not produce things to me. This is what it says. Trump argues the stay order is clear, straightforward, and unambiguous. All substantive proceedings in the court are halted. Despite this clarity, the prosecutors began violating the stay almost immediately. First, within 5 days of the court entering a stay order, the prosecutors served thousands of pages of additional discovery together with a purported draft exhibit list. Through counsel, Donald Trump advised that he rejected the prosecutors' unlawful productions, that their actions violated the stay order, and that he would seek relief if their malicious conduct continued. Pause. I mean, do we realize how ridiculous this is? Donald Trump is saying that he's been given, on a voluntary basis by special counsel Jack Smith, additional evidence that Trump doesn't have to read. But the fact that Jack Smith produced these additional records to Donald Trump is contemptible. How dare Jack Smith do this? Donald Trump goes on to say, ignoring this warning. What warning? You're whining? You're whining and saying, don't turn over records to me? Ignoring this warning, the prosecutors filed an expansive motion in limine less than 10 days later. This document teems with partisan rhetoric, including false claims that Donald Trump propagates irrelevant disinformation both within the courtroom and outside of it. Moreover, the motion in limine mirrors the Biden administration's dishonest talking points, asserting again falsely that Donald Trump was responsible for the events of January 6th, when in truth he called for a peaceful and patriotic assembly and protest. In this manner, the prosecutors seek to weaponize the stay, to spread political propaganda, knowing that Donald Trump would not fully respond because the court relieved him of the burdens of litigation during the stay. Worse, prosecutors have announced their intention to continue this partisan-driven misconduct indefinitely, effectively converting this court's docket into an arm of the Biden campaign. To remedy this outrageous conduct, the court should issue an order to show cause why the parties should not be held in contempt, required to immediately withdraw their motion to eliminate improper productions, forbid them from submitting any further filing or production absent the court's express permission while the stay order is in effect, and assess monetary sanctions in the amount of Donald Trump's reasonable attorney's fees and expenses incurred in responding to the prosecutor's improper production and filings. So because special counsel Jack Smith voluntarily lodged on the public docket what is called a motion in limine to exclude from trial Donald Trump saying lies and making up that January 6th was a Fed insurrection led by the FBI, or Donald Trump spewing the right-wing false talking points about January 6th that we all witnessed or heard about or saw and were aware of what went down. Donald Trump says that is acting as an arm of the Biden administration, and Jack Smith has converted the docket into a PR machine for President Biden. That's what he's saying in this filing. Donald Trump had lawyers write this. He had lawyers, people who have a bar license, file this in their names on his behalf. I mean, what in the world even is this? Here's the thing. Everyone knows how annoying cheap razors are. They cut you, they irritate you, and heck, they frustrate you. And don't get me started with subscription razor services. Can you say blah? That's why you gotta meet Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that has made parts for the International Space Station and Mars rover. And now they're bringing precision engineering to your shaving experience. Razor blades are like diving boards. The longer the board, the more wobble, the more nicks, cuts, and scrapes. A bad shave isn't a blade problem, it's an extension problem. By using aerospace-grade CNC machines, Henson makes metal razors that extend to just 0.0013 inches, which is less than the thickness of a human hair. That means a secure and stable blade with a vibration-free shave. It gets better. The razor has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream, which makes clogging virtually impossible. Seriously, Henson Shaving wants the best razor, not the best razor business. That means no plastic, no subscriptions, no proprietary blades, no planned obsolescence. The Henson razor works with standard dual-edged blades to give you that old-school shave with the benefits of new-school tech. Once you own a Henson razor, it's only about $3 to $5 per year to replace the blades. My first shave with Henson razor was top-notch. The design is sleek and the durability is exactly what you want. The Henson razor is truly so much better than your run-of-the-mill, quote-unquote, traditional razor brand. And the affordability factor here is an absolute game changer. No more wasting your money on expensive blades. With Henson Shaving, you can get a year of blades for $5. It's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/Meidas to pick the razor for you and use code Meidas, and you'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/MEIDAS and use code Meidas. That's hensonshaving.com/Meidas. But here's also just the tactic of MAGA Republicans and just how dangerous the MAGA Republicans are, because the Republican Party has gone full MAGA and they have embraced January 6th as their day of celebration, right? Because you see what they're saying. It was peaceful. It was patriotic. January 6th was an incredible thing. So if you say, what are you talking about? It was an insurrection. What do they say? They go, you're politicizing this. That is a partisan position. And as I've always said, it is not partisan to call out crimes, objective crimes. We all saw and know what happened on January 6th. So we should refuse to be gaslighted by MAGA or by the media that wants to say it is somehow the Democratic position or a leftist position to believe the insurrection was a bad thing, to believe that trying to overthrow the free and fair elections is a bad thing. It is not a leftist or Democratic position to say that it is a bad thing for someone like Donald Trump to have been found liable for rape. It is the way Donald Trump behaves is not conservative. It's not Republican. It is objectively abhorrent. But given that the Republicans love this guy, love him, he's their cult leader, they love him. So it is therefore partisan if you criticize that. And then that's a Democratic leftist. So much so that even if someone like Bill Barr is now viewed by them as a partisan hack, get this, for Democrats. They say Bill Barr is in on this conspiracy with Democrats because Bill Barr criticizes MAGA Republicans when they say secret satellite dishes beamed things from Hugo Chavez's dead body, and somehow that changed from Venezuela, and that changed votes with bamboo from China. And Bill Barr's like, okay, I'm willing to do a lot for you, Donald, but I'm not going to go and say satellite dishes and bamboo from China switched votes, because that didn't happen. And what you did on January 6th was horrible. And Bill Barr, what do they say? Rhino, lefty, he's in it with the Democrats. And that just is how they've politicized the issue. So don't let them gaslight you. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Back to the motion. So then what they talk about throughout this motion again and again is how Jack Smith is filing these things and that it's overwhelming them. I want to point out this as well, though, because this is, they go through again peacefully and patriotically and all of these things. Here's the thing, though, in another filing as well that was recently filed in Trump's reply, just so you see how unhinged these filings are. Here's the reply brief filed by Donald Trump. He says he cites himself as evidence that January 6th was peacefully and patriotically. He cites over here, this is the reply brief to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. See example, Donald Trump. And rather than citing a case or facts, he cites truthsocial.com, Donald Trump, sharing the report Summary of Election Fraud in 2020, Presidential Election in the Swing States. It's Trump's own statements he cites as evidence that January 6th was peaceful and patriotic, and then says for Jack Smith to file things on the docket now in the Washington, D.C. federal criminal case, it's an arm of the Biden administration to file things like this that accuse Donald Trump of injecting disinformation. And it's just horrific that Trump's got lawyers who are willing to say these things and to put things out like this. Here, I'll just go into this page of Donald Trump. He goes, the prosecutors dutifully repeat Biden administration's long debunked claims that Trump somehow caused the events of January 6, 2021, when in truth, Trump called only for peaceful and patriotic assembly. It goes on to say over here, this is where they talk about Truth Social. They go, yet this is not the prosecutor's only unlawful goal. Unstated but obvious is the prosecutor's desperate effort to harass Trump and prevent his victory in 2024. A significant part of this strategy, which the prosecutors have employed from the outset, is to use this case as a platform to advance the Biden campaign's dishonest political talking points, including, for example, echoing the false and defamatory claims that Trump spreads disinformation. And then they show a statement, I guess, by the Biden campaign claiming Trump propagates irrelevant they're citing to Jack Smith saying that Trump propagates irrelevant disinformation. And then they compare that with Biden campaign to launch account on Trump Truth Social. Biden campaign officials say they are injecting our message into GOP primary coverage and plan to combat mis and disinformation about President Biden that may appear on Trump's Truth Social media. So, in other words, he's saying that if Jack Smith is accusing Donald Trump of lying, that echoes President Biden's campaign that says Donald Trump lies. Or maybe Donald Trump just lies about everything, every single thing in his life. And yet you have the Republican Party stand by it. Yet you have a whole right-wing propaganda media echo chamber trying to overwhelm the American public with fascism or wannabe fascism. And then you have the legacy media, both sides. You got Hunter Biden, and then you've got $3 billion that Donald Trump and his kids and son-in-law made. But Hunter Biden, ridiculous stuff. 2024 is the year we push back. 2024 is the year we have enough. We're going to be very data-driven, go through these filings, but also it's up to you watching this. It's up to you. Share these videos. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. Hit subscribe, and thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.